I should Zoom this.
Good afternoon.
Too late.
So, welcome to the initial podcast of Politicast. It's episode 1, and we started out this podcast like we start out everyone, a mess, just live mics, and we don't know what's going on. So, Politicast, the background on it is police, right? P-O-L-I, right? Podcast, Politicast. It's a law enforcement themed somewhat show about politics as it relates to law enforcement sometimes. Candidates that support law enforcement, maybe they don't, or they're looking to push something through an assembly or get a law passed or something like that. We'll have them on. So today we have our first guest ever. Happy to have her here. That's where Mo would usually hit like the applause button or something. We're not going to go heavy on that kind of stuff.
I'm going to go heavy on the applause for myself.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
So, Politicast, this is our first episode. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. You're Puerto Rican, right?
I am.
But your last name is Italian.
It is.
Because I looked at it and I'm like, that's not really a Puerto Rican name. I grew up in Union City, Puerto Rican and Cuban dominant.
Oh.
So, yo hablo un poquito español for our Spanish listeners. Hit the ESL button if you want to hear it in Spanish. How do you pronounce your last name?
It depends. In Italian, it's Acquafredda.
Acquafredda.
And in English, it's Acquafredda.
Oh, Acquafredda. Oh, that's how I would say it. Acquafredda.
And it's a beautiful name, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Lovely. So you're here today because you want to promote you're running for...
I am running for Brooklyn Borough President.
Not Brooklyn, Michigan or Brooklyn, Wisconsin.
Right.
Brooklyn,
New York.
The borough, the 5th largest city in the world.
Yes, and the largest borough in New York City.
There you go. That would make sense, right? If it's I wonder what the 4 largest cities are. We should have researched that.
We definitely should have.
The 4 largest cities.
Hold on. I'm gonna get blue on it right now.
In the United States.
I feel like New York's got to be. It's got to be in the
As
top
a
2.
realtor, because you are a realtor, that's your profession. Right?
I am.
As a realtor, you might need to know what's the largest. Is
Why?
LA?
I only sell in New York City.
You think Los
LA's got
Angeles?
to be there. What about Irvington? Is Irvington on the list?
New Jersey?
Yes.
They're on some lists, but they're not on the top 5 biggest cities. So let's talk about what got you here. So one of your friends reached out to someone that does one of our podcasts and said, you're trying to get some exposure because you're running for Brooklyn Borough President.
A fellow realtor in Florida,
right.
actually.
And I had this idea in my head already to do this Politicast.
You did?
Yeah, I had this idea.
Why? Politics is so...
Well, because it's a necessary evil these days. There's no way every single thing in our lives, everything, and we were talking about this downstairs, is political.
Yeah.
You can't talk about...
Isn't it horrible?
What's better on a hot dog, mustard or ketchup, without somehow
Isn't it
becoming
horrible?
Political.
It's so divisive.
Yes, and I listen, I'm a Republican. I will say that proudly. My wife is a Democrat.
Interesting.
Right? But
how's that at home?
Good, because she likes all Phillies teams. I like all New York teams. But here's the thing. I always say this. I feel like most people, not the lunatic left, and not the crazy.
There's another
right.
kind of left.
Yeah, there's Kennedy. There's Kennedy Democrats. They're still around.
Well, I was a Democrat.
So was I.
I was a Kennedy Democrat.
I voted for Mayor Koch. He was my last Democrat.
Mayor Koch.
My favorite mayor.
I grew up in. I don't. Is he my favorite? No, he is not my favorite mayor. But I grew up in the restaurant industry, and Mayor Koch, every time he came in, would ask for my sister to serve him.
Really?
He was obsessed with my sister.
She's
a cutie.
He was a good guy. He was a good guy. He was a good mayor.
I really liked him.
Best
but
phrases
Giuliani was an ex. I mean, Koch was not really my mayor. I was too young to remember that. But Giuliani and Bloomberg were my mayors.
So Giuliani, good for the city, right?
Excellent.
Bad for cop salaries.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And there's many that will never forgive him for that because he ran on crime and we reduced the crime. And then it was time to pay us. He didn't do well by us.
I'm sorry.
No, but
I'm sorry I mentioned his name.
No, great. No, I'm telling you, I could see you could be supportive of somebody, but still be able to point out things.
Well, that's the last time, in my opinion, that New York City was great.
It was a good time for the city. It was a good time for the city. So, like I still vote locally where I am. I live in the Poconos now. I voted Democrat.
Look at you, bro.
What?
Bougie.
Yeah, so I voted
The
Democrat.
Poconos is not bougie.
Well, it depends where you go in the Poconos.
Oh,
Don't
really?
think,
There
don't think
are
of,
bougie
don't-
parts of the Poconos?
Don't think of just the giant champagne glass.
Tell me
and-
about it, because I'm a real
There's
estate
some-
investor also.
Mount Airy Lodge.
No, there's some good spots in the Poconos. Like you have Stroudsburg, Main Street. It's been honored so many times for like Christmas time, the way they decorate.
Oh.
It's been like one of the main streets of USA.
I have a friend who has a spa in the Poconos.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some
I don't
nice-
know
there's some
what the
nice-
name of it is,
There's
but
some nice spots.
I've
That's a
been
good
meaning to
plug
get
right
there.
there, right? That's what you're.
I
I was
have
just
no
gonna say
idea.
if you
That's
know the
almost-
business name, drop the
I have
name.
no
We'll go
idea.
right in.
That's almost as bad as our previous guest, who has a fundraiser, and he's like, it's at this restaurant in Easton called Dubs.
But I'm not here to promote her
Right.
spa. I'm here to promote my candidacy, and yeah.
We should probably get back to that, right? So I voted Democrat. I think local stuff like what you're running for is
Yes.
local, right? Borough president.
It is.
I
well,
feel-
it's actually not local. I mean, the borough of Brooklyn has 2.6 million
Well,
residents, so it's
lo-
actually not
It's a big election, but it's
It is a
local
big
to the
election.
Brooklyn people.
is,
Only
it
Brooklyn
is.
people could vote, right?
correct.
So it's local to the people in Brooklyn,
Yes.
even though it's a larger scale, because again, it's the 5th largest city. We've established that already.
We are as
Right.
big as Chicago.
There you go. So I feel local politics is more person over party.
I do too.
For me.
I
Like,
do too.
When we get into, you haven't said who if you're a Republican or Democrat, and I really don't want you to do that yet.
Oh.
Let's talk about. You didn't say it yet.
I
Let's-
don't know.
You didn't. Let's talk about when we get to the issues and stuff.
Sure.
Let people hear what you have to say and
Okay.
judge you on. Because here's the thing, I equate this to this: you're walking out on the street, you open up a door for somebody to go into a Wawa, to go into a 7-Eleven. You don't care about what their politics are, what they look like. You're just doing something nice because you're being a respectable human being to another human being, right?
Mhm.
That same person, if they were wearing a Trump shirt or a Kamala shirt, and you have opinions based on that, you might not hold the door. Why do we let
Isn't that
politics?
disgusting?
It is. So we're going to do
That's
this.
why, politics is ick.
Right. We're going to do this. We're going to talk about you a little bit more
Okay.
before we get to the questions, right? Because people are going to want to know who are watching this, where you stand on things.
Okay.
And they should judge you. And I would say this no matter what party of a person was sitting here, you should be judged on what your views are
Mhm.
and what you're going to bring to the constituents, your constituents. Can say that word for me, Mo.
Constituents.
You know,
Yeah.
I won't use that word.
Right.
I
So-
actually have never said that word, and I won't say that word.
I said it right the first time, and I should have just left it alone. But it's important for people to know where you stand on the
Yes.
issues and not what party you're affiliated with.
I agree.
Because I don't know. I think it's asinine to go in and just click, write down,
I agree.
write down.
And I don't think
one-
I've ever done
one-
that.
I
Like when I
have
voted.
nationally, sometimes it can happen, but
Mm.
I still have deviated most times. I voted for the governor of Pennsylvania twice, Shapiro. I think he does a good job. I didn't like Oz when he was running. I felt like he was an interloper. He never really was.
Oz the doctor?
Dr. Oz, yeah.
Dr. Oz is in Pennsylvania?
He ran. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he did a Hillary Clinton, right? She was never from New York, and then she came to New York, and then all of a sudden she ran for whatever she ran for.
He
in
was
New York.
running against Fetterman, wasn't he? Oz?
Oh,
I
Oz
believe-
was running against Fetterman.
He did, right?
Yeah. Who
Yes.
ran against Shapiro? And look at what Fetterman. And look at Fetterman. Listen, sometimes he's not. He's out there a little bit, but more often than
A little
not-
bit,
Wait,
dude.
who is your?
Well-
so he was running for mayor?
No, he was running. Fetterman was running for
For senator.
senator.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's the guy that wears the shorts all the time.
I
he-
don't
he
pay
showed-
attention to Pennsylvania.
Okay, all
I'm
right, well,
sorry.
Here's the thing with him.
I'm
Like,
in New York City.
a lot of people judged him, and sometimes he could be out there and stuff, but he seems to be coming around and being a little bit more fair, and he's not afraid, to his own detriment sometimes, to go against his own party and say, this is wrong. That goes back to this, right? You can be supportive of somebody and still be critical, or you could be critical of somebody and still be able to point out a good that they did.
You're not going to agree with anybody 100% of the time.
No,
And that goes for personal relationships, business relationships, political things. I mean, you're just not.
absolutely. So now that we got a little bit established here, let's talk about you, not politics yet.
Oh, okay.
All right, I did a little research.
Okay.
So just
I'm
put your
scared.
name in there. I just put your name in there and see what popped up, right?
Oh, into what?
Into the interwebs, the
Into
clouds and
Google?
whatnot. Yeah,
You
out there.
Googled
The
me?
World Wide Web.
Yeah, the web, that
Ah.
big web. And you were on House Hunters, right?
I was.
How
a
was
few
that?
times.
I watched a few times, more than once.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! I think I only got one. Oh, there it is up on the screen. There's House Hunters. You were looking at a lake house somewhere, right?
Yes, that
That's
I
you.
bought.
That's you and your realtor, right?
No,
there, right?
yes,
No?
that's me and my realtor Sue,
right. Okay.
an awesome woman.
All right. And you didn't do that because you didn't do your own realting, if that's a word, up there because she's local and you want to give someone that's local to that area, or is that the person?
Yeah. So, I mean, I could have bought the house on my own,
Right.
but I wanted somebody to kind of guide me through the process, who knew the area, who knew, homes outside of New York City are so different than
Right.
homes in the country. So I didn't know anything about septic tanks and the restrictions in
Me
the
either.
waterfront. Yeah.
Until I bought a house and I'm like,
What the heck is
I
a
was like, what's
septic?
that mound back
That's
there?
nasty.
And my wife was like, that's where the poop goes. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Exactly. So I wanted somebody who knew their stuff, and
Right.
and she's fabulous.
Let's
Yeah.
pull the cloak. Let's peek behind the curtain
Okay.
a little bit of these shows.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
How many houses do you look at? 3, 4?
For the TV show?
Yeah. You already
3.
had your house picked
Yes.
out though before. Okay.
I was
So that
already in
is true.
contract.
You're already in contract and then you pretend.
I
kind of?
pretend to look for other houses. Yeah.
Right. So you're a good actress
Am I
though.
allowed to?
Yeah,
I
it's
was-
out there.
I
It's
was
all over the interwebs.
I
That's
was
it, too.
actually an actress.
Oh, you were?
I was.
How many? You're like a Jamaican. How many jobs do you have?
I've had 9 lives.
Realtor,
Italian.
No. I was.
Italian.
Italian, right?
I was an actress. I
Okay.
had my own TV show.
Okay, so
When
if
I
I
was a
look you
teenager.
up, how come on the IMD page? Is that what it is?
IMDb. It should come
IMDb.
up.
I never got that in my Google search.
I was the host of a PBS series.
You
In
are
the
a
90s.
horrible researcher, Mike.
Public broadcasting.
Yeah.
Public broadcasting system. PBS.
I
Very
was.
vital. It's a good thing. PBS.
Yeah, it was called In the Mix, and I was one of the hosts
In the mix.
in the mix, and it was a show for teens about teens
In the city in
Run-
New York.
in New York City. Yeah.
I remember that in the
For
mix.
teens by teens. I think
Dawn's
that was
going to
our,
work.
Yeah.
For teens by teens, not to be confused with FUBU, For Us by Us, which was
Correct.
remember FUBU.
Yeah, I do.
Ironically, it was not owned by just African Americans. A Jewish person owned it. Half of that.
Yeah, I actually worked in the fashion industry too, and I know all about that.
Oh, fashion.
I've had
Actress.
9. No, I've had 9 lives. So I actually was an actress. So that's
Right.
why I'm so comfortable on the camera.
Right.
And
Yeah, she looked very uptight right now.
I had a vodka
Okay.
right before I came on. Yeah, I was an actress, and I also had a record deal. So
Really?
and I actually went to college for. I have 2 degrees, one in broadcasting and one in media studies. So entertainment was my thing. I thought I was going to be a journalist.
You want to switch seats? You could be the host.
No.
All right. All right,
I mean, I
so-
wanted to do that when I was younger.
So House Hunters, right?
So I
And
did
then you
House
were
Hunters.
on, there's that show Below Deck.
I was.
But you were like a spin-off of that, right?
Wait, you were on Below Deck?
Yes.
I was.
My wife's obsessed
Below
with
Deck
that show.
Charter. Like, is Below Deck Charter different than regular Below Deck?
No, I was on the legit Below Deck, and in
Right.
fact, I had the largest yacht that ever embarked on this Below Deck journey. I forgot the name.
I am
forget.
Janine. I am a millionaire. I own a mansion and a yacht.
Dude, I'm telling you, it gets vicious on there.
Can I just tell you how inexpensive Below Deck is?
Are you allowed to?
Oh, did I sign an NDA?
I was just going to say,
Maybe I
is there an
shouldn't say
NDA?
anything.
Yeah, you
All right.
might.
Yes, I did Below Deck, and it's interesting. And
Put
so
up the picture of her on the deck. Is that from Below Deck, the picture that we have here?
no,
That's not from Below Deck.
no, that's me.
That's above
in-
deck right there.
Well, she's above deck, but is it from Below Deck?
No,
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 it's not.
that's just me in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Mike,
Um,
how the hell did you find a picture of her in Puerto Rico? What kind of searches are you doing, bro?
No, my wife found that picture.
Well, it's funny because somebody did a thing about Below Deck,
That
and
was
they
on
found
Instagram.
that photo.
Yeah, it was on
Yeah,
Instagram.
they found that. I took that down because it's a little much for. Well, I'm a realtor. I don't want to show.
Good job,
Right,
Mike.
right.
Way to
Yeah.
be, dude. Way
No,
to
it's,
put
it's
that.
totally fine. But
excuse me, Mo. In pre-production, I went over my photos that I had, and I had approval.
I didn't see that.
I certainly showed that to you downstairs.
No, you didn't. I just saw it up here. But it's fine. It's totally fine. Listen, I worked hard for that
Yeah.
body.
I mean, the Brooklyn Borough President
Right
can't wear a
right now,
bikini?
her campaign manager is just punching themselves in the face.
Has there
Listen.
ever been a female Brooklyn
Never.
Borough President? What about one Hispanic? Well, with the guy that's there now is, right?
Yes, the current Brooklyn Borough President is Hispanic. He
Okay.
is not Puerto Rican.
No, I think he's Dominican.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's still an accomplishment.
So
I
you're
believe he's the first.
Right, and groundbreaking for you if you win.
No female Puerto Rican has ever run.
Right. That's
So I've already made history.
That's
How about that?
groundbreaking. Yeah. Good. God
I'm
bless.
pretty proud of that,
Yeah,
actually.
you should be.
Because because my grandparents would be proud.
And then so Below Deck, that was not from Below Deck, but you did
No,
Below Deck.
that was me just there.
In a
I'm
bikini
building
in Puerto
house
Rico on a
there.
boat.
Well, I go there all the time.
Okay.
And I've been going there for 20 years.
Okay.
And it is changing very quickly. And so I didn't like what I was seeing. And I said, you know what? I can either complain about gentrification or I can buy something here and stop complaining about it. So
Right.
I actually ended up buying something there. And I've been in construction for 3 years.
What part? What part of Puerto Rico?
I bought in Luquillo,
Luquillo.
which
And
is all I could afford.
Where is that in relation to the island? Is it
It is
Eastern?
about 35 minutes from the airport, San Juan.
okay? And how far from the beach?
I am
Right on.
I am a 45-second drive to the beach. I can see it from my house.
So you
Well,
thought-
actually, I can't see it from my house anymore because I built a big wall around my house.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm trying. I know.
Walls work.
I will build a great wall
Wait, no,
on
it's
our
so
southern
funny.
border, and I
Wow.
will have Mexico pay for
Wait.
that wall.
Wow, he's
Mark
getting
my
good
words.
in there, Mo, right? See how
Wait,
fast he-
my neighbors call me Trumpista
Ah,
because I built
Trumpista.
this wall around my
No.
house. I
This
know.
is gonna go great.
Hashtag Trumpista. All right, so Below Deck.
No, I did
Right?
it. I did it because I wanted to create a feeling of when you walk into the into the front door, you feel like you're in a resort.
Okay.
Because I'm on the corner and it could get noisy, and
Right.
so I just wanted to create a vibe,
Right.
but I blocked my view of the ocean, and after I
Ooh,
did it, I
as
said,
a
well,
realtor, that's a no-no. The
Oh,
view is very
I
important,
don't
isn't it?
I don't follow real estate rules.
Okay.
I rip
All right.
out
Do
every
you follow
tub,
any
every.
rules? Do you follow any rules?
I follow the law,
Okay. All right. Good. Law of the land. Law is good. Rules are
but
made to
rules,
be broken,
no.
right? They're
Yes.
made to be broken.
I break them and I ask
Yeah.
for
'Cause
forgiveness.
Who's even yeah, that's what you do. You ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Correct.
That's how it works.
That's
All right.
how I
So
roll.
Below Deck.
Yes,
right?
I've done that.
Okay. You've run in the both New York and Boston Marathon? Wait, is that
No.
right? No?
And I want to shout out to everybody running the Boston Marathon this weekend, I believe.
Which marathon have you run?
So I'm going for the Worlds, which are the 6 biggest marathons in the world.
Okay.
So I've run New York City, which is the best.
Right.
I've
course.
run Berlin. I've run Chicago,
Okay.
The DC one's supposed to be really good too.
but it's not part of the Worlds. And I'm an old lady, so I only have 3 more marathons, and then I'm done.
That's the Marine Corps one, right? The one down in DC.
I will do that probably.
Mo, remember that guy, the world's most interesting man? The dude with the beard for Dos Equis beer?
Stay thirsty, my
Are you
friends.
not the world's most interesting woman? I mean, wait, let's run through the things now. Realtor, right? Actress,
Astronaut.
singer.
No, I'm sorry. That's
singer.
Katy Perry. I
No,
apologize.
listen, they're not astronauts. They went on an Uber ride.
They didn't
in a
even go to
rocket. They didn't go to
space. They
They
went
weren't.
close to space.
They weren't. It was
Marathon
an
runner.
elitist,
World
glorified.
marathon runner.
World marathon runner, realtor,
Yes.
actress,
Yes.
singer.
Yes.
What else?
I was an Olympic level gymnast.
Olympic level gymnast.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
I'm a dog rescuer.
Dog rescue. That's a big
I
thing.
am a dog-
I rescue cats.
I'm a
Me and my
dog
wife
rescuer.
rescue cats.
What else?
What else?
No, I have a pretty great life.
So when you do the realtor stuff, I think I saw this online somewhere. You don't have a not-for-profit, but what you do is for every, I'm going to get this right. I try to do research because he bothers me about this. For every sale that you make,
Yes.
you donate $100 to an actual not-for-profit. So you're putting
To
money,
a rescue.
a rescue. Okay.
It doesn't have to be a nonprofit.
Right.
But they usually are to a rescue of my client's choice.
So your client you give them a list of like this.
No,
this
they
name?
just
they
tell
do
me
the research.
They
and
do
then
the research. And actually, once somebody said, "Can you donate the money to a food pantry because they always supply cat food and dog food?" So whatever they want to do, as long as it benefits animals.
That's beautiful. That's a good
Yeah.
thing because they're innocents. You know what I mean? They don't have anything to do with their
And
environment.
no
or-
politician ever talks about animals. And
Well-
actually, who
No.
Curtis Lewa.
he does.
Curtis
He
Lewa.
he has cats.
Yes.
And so I stand corrected.
Yes.
He does. Aside from him, have you ever heard a politician talk about animals?
No, I've never heard.
I was going down a totally different road with that.
A politician
I was going down a totally different road with that.
corrected in the moment and say I was wrong. That was a beautiful thing that you just did.
I'm not a politician.
Well, you are.
Now I am.
You are now.
I don't really like that.
Yeah, well, it's just a term. Who cares? It's just,
It is just like your political affiliation is a term.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, but yes,
So
he
he
does
is-
like animals.
Now,
And,
if he's listening, we're trying to get him for Politicast, and I have reached out to him, and he's ducking me a little bit.
I don't know him,
Well,
and I have never met him.
I've
I've met
texted
his
him-
wife.
I texted him to his personal number,
Oh,
and he read it because
oh.
I got the 2 little check marks.
Here we go. More,
Let me
about
see
me.
what I can
More about
do.
me, less
Let me
about
see
you.
what I can do
Let's talk
about
about me
that.
for a minute.
He's actually supposed to be coming to my official announcement. I have not officially announced that I'm running for Brooklyn Borough President.
Right.
So that's happening on Tuesday
Under the bridge, right?
under the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's supposed to be there. So I will let him know.
Whisper in his ear. You tell him Mike the cop. And listen, I know the guy. He's not going to remember me, but I remember him.
He's
Mike the
like,
cop.
"Who?"
Mike the cop. In the 80s, when I first became a cop in 1987, my initial area that I worked was Midtown South, which is Times Square,
Mhm.
which was inundated with those red berets. The what are they called again?
The
I almost
Guardian
said-
Angels.
Yeah, I almost said Hell's Angels. The Guardian Angels were
I grew up with
everywhere.
the Guardian Angels.
They were everywhere.
I know, and they were
And
amazing.
Sometimes they were a little bit too aggressive. You talk about civil rights and stuff, like
Well-
they were deputized and they thought they could just toss anybody up against the wall. And how it relates to Curtis is he was the one that would come to put the fires out. Like, he was almost like that liaison between, because now as a cop, you have a civilian who was thrown up against the wall by this guy and they want to press charges, but now this guy might have had a little weed on, and now you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with this as a rookie cop. And then he would come because they'd call him on his walkie-talkie, and then we'd have a little powwow and everybody would leave and part ways, and no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So I've had interactions with him before.
Interesting.
And we
I've
try-
never met him.
Yeah.
I met his wife, and
Yeah.
she's amazing.
Yeah. He's a character, all right. So
He is. I've listened to him on the radio, actually.
So
Yeah,
we wanna
he's a
get him on here.
character. He. I mean, listen, he loves New York City.
Yeah.
As do I. And he loves animals. So yeah, that's enough for me.
I mean, when you think about this coming election, it's
Yeah.
really crazy.
It
because
is.
you have
I kind of like it.
it's nutty because you have a Democrat in
Mhm.
Adams
Yeah.
who is now
Well, no. Right. Who is now
he-
not a
he-
Democrat.
right. He's been abandoned by his party.
No, he abandoned the party.
Well, yeah. Well,
Well,
I
the
think-
chicken come first or the egg? I
yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
Either way, he's running as an independent.
Correct.
You got Curtis running as a Republican.
Correct.
And then there's about 9 people vying for. I don't think there's
Or
a challenger.
more.
I don't think there's a challenger for Curtis. I'm not sure, and I don't
There
think.
probably is not.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody would beat him in a primary anyway.
Probably not.
And then you got the Democrats. It's like 9 to 10 of them. Who knows who's going to come out of that when the smoke clears?
Well,
So
I mean, I think we all know.
for you,
You don't think Cuomo's coming out in the clear there?
Oh, he's definitely, yeah.
I think he's
Cuomo
the
is coming
front runner for the Democrats.
I got to remember that I'm not uncensored with Mike the cop, and I'm got to be a little bit more reserved. And good luck to whoever the Democratic.
I believe that it will be him. I think he's the front runner. So you've got Cuomo.
Anything can happen though. Any person can get in front of a mic at any time, or something from the past could come back again because he doesn't have a clear.
I think
he's got issues.
I mean, they're all out
Yeah,
there now.
right. We don't.
They
are
all
they?
don't have issues.
We don't
people
know.
ha-
We don't know if
I
they're
don't
all
have
out there.
issues.
We don't.
All right,
I
I'm not a
didn't say-
politician.
I have volumes. I have
Um,
volumes, which is why I'll never run for office. Volumes.
But you know what? I don't see, and I think that's one of the reasons people who should run don't run because they
Right.
have issues. Everybody has issues.
Right.
Nobody is perfect. We're
Right.
all human.
Right.
And people need to just forgive mistakes, but on a personal level, on a political level, that's another thing. If you were in office and you made huge mistakes,
Right.
that should follow you. But people have a very short attention span.
Well, that's why I think your election and then just that the general election for mayor and all the other stuff going on is going to be very interesting.
very
because
interesting.
It's
I'm
like
excited about that. Actually,
if you're an up and comer like you are, right, and people are tired, I think, of the BS.
Yes.
Right. I mean, for me,
Yes.
I think Trump got his first term because people were tired of the status quo.
right?
And then I think he got his second term because I don't think the Democrats learned from the first time around calling people names, saying they're deplorable or garbage or uneducated or whatever the case may be, is not conducive to getting someone. You're going to have your strict, I vote Republican, I vote Democrat. You're going to get those.
Yeah.
But that's not what wins elections anymore. What's going to win elections, unless you're just in a total, red or blue area, it's the people in the middle that you're going to get. And I think there's more people in the middle or undecided now than there ever was before. So I think that's good for you.
Oh,
I think that's good. I think that's good for you because you're running in a borough that's predominantly, or I don't know what the numbers are, like 80-20, 70-30 Democrat.
probably.
But again, if people just listen to what you're saying you want to accomplish and not put a
label on me.
Yeah, or a hat, red or blue, and just listen to what you have to say.
I think it's important. I think, and I think about politics in real estate terms,
Okay.
right? So I've spent 20 years as a real estate professional in New York City. And, when you're representing the seller, you want to get the highest possible price for the property. When you're representing a buyer, you want to get the lowest price possible for the buyer, right? And so how do you make a deal happen? Well, it's not by sticking with your highest price as a seller and sticking to your lowest price as a buyer. It's working to get somewhere in the middle. Compromising and negotiating and talking. And at the end of the day, at the closing table, when you put a deal together, nobody's happy.
Right.
I sit at closing tables every single day.
Well, that's a sign of a compromise, right? Each person leaving saying,
Right.
I could have got a little more.
Right. The seller's like, Janine, I could have got a little more. And the buyer's like, I could have got it for less. But at the end of the day, nobody's happy, but everybody's okay.
Right. Fair.
And
fair deal.
And I think that that's the way politics should be. If everybody can just come to a place of being okay, we're going to be so much better off.
Well, I say it all the time, and some people agree and some people don't. I feel like most people, again, not the radicals on either side, but most people want the same things. We all want the same things. It's sometimes people disagree on how to get there.
Absolutely.
And that's where you have the disconnect.
Absolutely.
So when you asked before, how does it work in your house being a Republican and a Democrat, is we just agree to disagree. We agree to disagree on certain things. But for the most part, we're together for 12 years. We love each other. We have children, right? We can see the common ground.
Yeah.
That's what's lost in the world today, is not being able to see the common ground.
Yeah.
Like, if you, whatever.
The common ground used to be love of country, and that's been destroyed.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. I mean, you look at these groups that are marching around every city in the United States. I mean, use New York City as an example. I mean, they're carrying flags of any country but the United States,
And they're burning
the American
flag, and it's disgusting.
And I always look back to you pull any picture from Martin Luther King Jr.'s rallies, at a time where he was fighting real racism. I mean, racism that this generation has no concept. His marches, his rallies were embedded with American flags. Those groups of people were not wishing for the death of the West. They were wishing just to be part of America.
A better America.
Right, correct. Like you were saying before, like being critical. They were absolutely critical of America, but they recognized the beauty of it. And they weren't fighting to control, alt, delete the country.
Right.
They knew how beautiful this country was. They just wanted to be part of it. And now that's the difference with what you're seeing now. The groups that are rallying against this country, they don't want to be part of it. They want the death of it, which I think is the real.
Well, they can move.
100%.
I always tell people,
which is beneficial for a realtor.
Oh, well,
well played.
If they own something, but it's interesting because people are asking me now that I'm running, like, what do you hope to see in Brooklyn, and I said, you know what I want?
I have a few questions like that.
I want it to be the day after 9/11. That's what I want.
Well, I lived the day after 9/11, and I can tell you it was a few days after that. So 9/12 it was a good month and a half, 2 months, and then we forgot.
We were
Yes.
united.
forgot.
We were all human. We were all New Yorkers. We were all Americans. It was beautiful, and that's what I would love to see.
Yeah, the country was united. We were
I would
Americans. It was
love
us
to see
against
that.
everybody else. That's why Porygal says we need to get attacked by aliens, not the kind from other countries, but aliens from like outer space, because he
Right.
said that would unify the world. Because we have a
Maybe
common
I don't
enemy.
even know anymore. I mean,
Well,
I don't
If there
know
are
if we're
any
so
aliens
far
out there
gone.
listening,
It's like
unless you're Trende Aragua, then we don't.
you want your community to be involved. You don't want to only see them at weddings and funerals like family, right?
Yeah.
You should want to see your people more than just weddings or funerals. You want to see
Absolutely.
them other times. So that's what you should. But listen, it's also okay. Like I always give this example. I'm working in a precinct. You're working realty, right? Doing
Mhm.
realtor stuff.
Mhm.
You have your group of people that you're commingle with and
Yes.
that you're around all the time. Everybody's not coming to my house at the barbecue on Sunday.
Yes.
I'm not inviting everybody to that barbecue. I'm inviting the people that I vibe with, right?
Right.
That I feel like I can get down with, that kind of like have a good aura or energy.
Good energy.
Don't
yes.
have to necessarily agree with every. Listen, I talk to everybody. I mean, I could stop and talk to somebody,
don't
a
say.
homeless guy on the street,
Mhm.
and be there for a half hour.
Non-housed.
Oh.
Whatever. But what I'm
Street
saying
urchin.
is, what I'm saying is, you could pick up on energy
Yeah, absolutely.
in a minute. I know. It's sad. I'm like a chihuahua.
Oh.
I know in a minute when someone comes through the door like a chihuahua. You know, you do dog rescue.
Yes. Oh,
I have a
yes.
chihuahua. That dog, Ivy, her name is, my little Ivy. She will make up her mind in 10 seconds.
His dog bit my daughter.
Oh,
Actually
my
drew blood.
goodness.
She did-
Actually
she
drew
did.
blood. I say
What's
I wish.
wrong with your daughter?
Right. She's a chihuahua. It's not the dog, right? She's a chihuahua. I mean, that's
I
what
will
they do.
always blame the human. Sorry.
Well,
Always.
I did make it up, and I did give you the. I did give you the spotted tortoise. I bought a spotted tortoise for my daughter,
Frankie
not knowing
Tittles.
they live for like 90 years.
Oh, do they?
They get huge, and I said to her, you know, her mom and I divorced, so she's with me on the weekends and holidays and all this stuff, and sometimes longer. And I said to her, don't leave the fruit in your tank, because fruit flies will come.
Right.
So she left the fruit in the tank, and I'm a lesson to you. I want you to learn by living,
Oh.
not by being told.
Right.
Oh, well, those fruit flies went to town.
Oh my god.
She came the next time she opened up a door, they were everywhere. She's like, God, I don't want that tortoise anymore. Now she's 27. I don't know where
Oh
time
my
goes. I'll be
gosh.
27
You're
in October.
old.
I know.
So Janine, every animal I have
Yes.
is a rescue.
Oh, I love that.
Wait till you get a list.
No, just,
Don't say you love it yet. Wait, it's a.
this is
a
not
zoo.
about you. This is not about you anymore.
All right, sorry.
That's okay. I forgive you. I'm Christian.
All right.
So I have
Happy
his
Holy Saturday, by
You
the
have
way.
a tortoise.
I have his tortoise. That's Frankie Tittles. What was his name before?
Mike,
You got that? You're
Mike,
right.
Snike, Spike.
All right, because
Now he's Frankie Tittles.
right now he's Frankie Tittles.
Living his best life.
Love it.
yes.
Organic fruit from
My wife gets the fresh
baths,
fruits
takes the thing for
and
walks, talks to it, sings to it. Oh,
Interesting.
crazy. I almost killed it twice.
Oh my goodness.
3 times.
I
You
have
have
a
a snake?
chinchilla. I have a chinchilla
A chinchilla.
that I
okay.
rescued from one of our other members who had it.
Basically, everybody in the charity just offloads whatever animals they don't want to him.
But I love that you take them in.
And then so that is named Gizmo.
It's a good name for a, what is it again?
Chinchilla.
Chinchilla, right? Yeah.
Right. We have
You get like 50 of those, you can have a nice throw.
our
no,
dog.
we don't do
Well,
that.
We don't do that. We don't do that.
No.
We don't do that. We throw blood on them. Paint
Yes,
them.
no.
All right, so our dog, we actually
What kind of a dog?
Pitbull.
Ah,
We actually adopted. If you go on, and I wish I knew the name of it's on YouTube.
It was featured on that show. What's that?
on
internet- with the-
Lily Dodo.
Dodo.
Yes.
The dog
Dodo,
was featured
okay.
on Dodo.
We rescued the dog. It was part of a litter that was rescued by Jon Stewart, the actor Jon
okay,
Stewart.
yeah,
He
yeah.
adopted. It was actually 13 in total because they adopted the mother and all the puppies, and they raised them in their house and hand adopted them out to people.
Mm.
So it's. I think it's.
So Pitbull,
I think it's
Chinchilla,
Bess's. I think if you go on,
tortoise.
I think if you go on YouTube, I'm gonna have Dawn look it up on YouTube. I think it's Bess's reunion.
Is that it? Just three?
Something like
No,
that.
no, there's more.
there was
Oh.
there was.
There's more. There's the
So
Pitbull, the Chinchilla, the
chinchilla-
tortoise,
We have a feral cat
a feral cat.
that
It's
we
not really
take
feral
take
anymore.
care of now. My wife.
Get the shot, Mo, and let it in the house. What's wrong with you?
So
Oh, I thought shot. You were gonna put a picture up there.
I wish I had known this was gonna go this way. I would have had all the pictures. So
What do you mean? I'm like a huge animal
And what about the
lover.
bird?
You have a bird?
The
Wait.
outside bird that you would feed. She was feeding by
Oh,
hand.
A pigeon?
Shit,
A
what was his
bluebird
name? No,
or
Blue
something.
Jay.
Blue Jay.
We had
Oh,
a baby,
bluebird.
Sherman.
I
Sherman,
was-
but he got eaten by a hawk. We're
I
not
was-
talking about him. R.I.P.
I was waiting. I was waiting for his wife to like regurgitate, chew the food, and like regurgitate and feed it to the little baby bird.
Oh my
The
god.
hawk really killed the bluebird.
No, for real.
Blue
Yeah,
Jay?
yeah, the Blue Jay.
You
Yeah,
saw it happen?
I didn't even see it
That's
happen, but we
awful.
found its feathers and things
Could have
around.
been a cat. It could have been anything.
Oh.
Well,
It could have been
so-
the mother of your feral
Anything
cat.
else?
So our feral cat, well, the girls call him Toby. I call him Tobias because he has to have an official name. He can't. Toby's like a nickname, so it's got to be Tobias.
Tobias.
Talk
My
about-
wife
talk
saw
about bougie,
him.
right?
My wife,
Tobias.
my wife
That's
saw
such a Park Slope name
Yeah.
for a.
my, my wife saw him out front, eating out of he was ripping the garbage bag and eating out of. This was when he was a kid, a tiny little kid. She's
Aw.
like, I can't do this, so she just she went and grabbed something real quick. I think it was like fried rice or
His
something
wife
like
loves
that.
strays. Hence,
Put it-
marrying
Was Tobias
Mo.
Spade?
Put it down. No, he's got
Mo.
I know.
no, he's got big nuts. No, it's
No,
all
You
right.
gotta.
Come
Clip
on,
'em.
man. You know
What,
how-
what are you,
know
Bob Barker? Calm down, bro.
Yes.
Man,
Absolutely.
you're animals, man.
Absolutely.
Well, all right.
My wife's running
Don't,
around
Stacey,
with
if you're
traps,
listening to
trapping
this, we are
cats,
not
trapping
picking
rabies.
up
We do the whole
Do
thing.
you need a cat house?
bills.
I have a cat house.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
No.
Hold on 1 second.
I have a.
I don't have
amazing
a. I don't have a
house.
cat house. I had a formal dining room that is gone.
Well,
I have no dining room anymore. You know
That
what
was
I have
my
now?
office. That
I have
was
a
my
cat
office.
room now.
Yeah, that was my office. People would drop off whatever they found. That's how my Realtors for Rescues came to life.
And we have 3 kittens right now that have feline leukemia.
Aw.
So they could. One of them is regressive.
So you need a cat house. I have a cat house.
I have a catio out on my deck. It's called a catio. It's like, a condo catio.
I have a cat house for
and
you.
they go outside. Well, cat house to Mo means something different. He's getting excited when you
Oh.
say cat house.
I don't know what that is. Is
Well-
that like a dirty thing?
No,
A cat house is like a form of like prostitution. In
Oh.
like Nevada, they call it a cat house.
So
Legal,
look,
but-
Dawn's on it. She put the link to the YouTube in the comments for anybody that wants to watch the story about my dog's rescue.
Aw.
Well, so Tobias, back
Listen,
to his
wrap this up.
Tobias.
You got 2 minutes because half hour I gave to like getting to know you,
Oh.
and then the other half hour we're going to answer some questions about what your views are and what you're hoping
Okay.
for the future for Brooklyn.
So you're not
Okay.
interested in Tobias's
2
big
minutes. No,
nuts.
you
We
got
love
Tobias.
Well,
Tobias.
okay, so yeah, so,
Tobias
so
is nuts. You got 2 minutes on Tobias, and you better say that.
You
neuter that.
better.
You better.
Stacey, if
Otherwise,
you're
you're
listening,
part
we're
of the
not picking up
problem.
Petvilles. I can't. All right.
You can get
There's-
that done for free.
Yes,
I can
was gonna
direct
say,
you.
There's plenty
Yes?
of places
All right.
because
Absolutely.
there's plenty of places if you have a feral cat that
In
you take,
fact-
they'll do it for nothing.
I will fund it.
But what?
Boom.
There we go.
Boom.
There it is.
How can you
Jesus
not?
Christ,
That's it.
it's Jason
Stacey, get
Bourne.
on that.
Get on it, Stacey.
All right.
So
All right.
now he lives in the back of our house. We have during the winter we actually bought one of those heated houses.
Oh,
I
so
have-
you do need the cat house.
I have one too.
All right, I have a cat
I have
house
one of
for
those
you.
heated ones.
But I'm
too.
not
The outdoor-
driving
and we
all
have
the
the-
way to
We have the
here.
heat. We have the heated bowls
I have
for
the
his
heated-
food.
I have the heated
And
too.
then Stacey realized that they get whisker fatigue.
Oh, I don't know
So,
about that.
Oh, my
please,
God.
she was all about it. Because she was wondering why she buys this expensive food now, a tiki cat or some crazy shit like that. I don't even know. Right, exactly.
I don't know.
You see, it's off the
when
charts.
I get the animals, I get them out like within 72 hours. They bring them to me, and I find
This
them
thing was
homes
gone
like
in
I'm
72
throwing
hours.
lettuce into the tortoises thing to feed it,
Mhm.
and then they go buy organic special strawberries.
She's searching all night.
flown in from the
Tiki-
mountains of
They
some
deserve
country.
it.
Yeah,
They
On
deserve
the
it.
break, look up tiki cat and
Okay.
just it is.
we don't have a break. We do 1 hour straight. That's
Oh.
Politicast.
Oh, you're running straight through.
Politicast is 1 hour straight through. We just go right through. We don't do no breaks. No breaks.
Okay.
We do 1 hour solid.
right.
We got to keep the politicians. Well, that's not the word for you.
I am not a politician.
We got to keep
Stop
Janine on
saying
our toes.
politicians.
Yeah,
That's right.
We're gonna
that
think of a new
word.
word. We're gonna think of a new word for something that's.
Um,
I'm good at that. I'll think of one.
Okay, think
Well,
of a
let's do
word,
this.
but I'm
We're-
not a politician.
We're at the halfway point,
Okay.
and now we went from just talking, getting to know you, which I think we've definitely given the audience
Enough?
A little peek. No, I mean, listen, I feel like we need more. This is very refreshing. I feel like we need more people running for office like you. Everyday
Thank
citizen, interesting, good background, and clearly you're not doing it for anything but love of your borough and your city.
Absolutely.
So that's what I feel like you need that. And that, listen, I'm not saying this because you're a guest here. I'm saying it because I think people will pick it up through the camera. 100%
yeah,
sure.
I mean,
This is genuine. This is real. There's no
how
BS
do you
here.
represent people if you're not worldly,
Right.
right?
And
If
they're
you've spent your
disconnected.
whole life in politics, how do you know what goes on outside of it?
And that's crazy that you said that, because my first question for
Oh,
you
goodness.
is, what is your plan for engaging with local residents and community boards? That was my first question. And I didn't even lead you there. You just said that. So
Ask it again.
I
What
will
is my
ask it
plan
again.
for?
what is your plan for engaging with local residents and
Mhm.
community boards?
Well, Brooklyn is huge.
Right.
And we have, I think, 18 community boards that meet every month. So do the math. I can't possibly be at every single one, right?
No.
But my plan is to be at some. I think it's really important for people not to see people from my office or my representatives, but to see me and to have access to me. I think that's super important. I think that people want to feel supported. They want to feel heard. They want to be seen. And so, I'm going to probably run myself ragged to be at these things as much as possible. But I think, it's 2025 technology. We have that, and we need to utilize that. We need to do live streaming. We need to do Zooms. We need to get with the times. And if somebody wants to be a part of a meeting that I'm holding or a town hall that I don't need to travel and be there physically. I would like to some of the time, right? I want people to.
Well, you definitely have to connect, because
I
I think
wanna
for
connect,
you, like
yeah.
that's going to be your wheelhouse, is getting in front of people,
Absolutely.
meeting them and speaking to them.
Absolutely.
Although this is good. This is good too.
Things like this are
Yeah.
great. I love social media. I think, and I like to do a lot of candid stuff. I think transparency is very, very important. We have the technology. We need to be using it. We need to be connecting with people however they feel most comfortable connecting. And I want to make myself available, whether that's in person, on the phone, online. I want to do all of it.
I have a friend who's a mayor in Union City. He's a senator. His name is Brian Stack, childhood friend. I grew up with him, Democrat. Huge in that community. He does all that stuff. He's always on socials.
Absolutely.
And he's my age, so I'm a little bit old. We're a little bit older than you, but he's got good people around him. He uses the social media wisely. He has meetings. He puts them up on the air.
Absolutely.
He gives out, now I wouldn't recommend this for you, but
What?
maybe get a burner phone.
So
second phone.
I thought about that, and I brought it up. I'm speaking to a lot of my friends about this, and I said, I think I'm going to get a second cell phone just so I can. And they were like, "You're crazy."
No,
Listen, you have to.
Listen,
100%.
here's the thing.
I'm never going to
100%.
be in the office ever.
Here's the
Like, I
thing.
know that about me right
Union
now.
City's small. Union City's, it's a big city,
How
but
many
it's not.
people?
I'm not even sure the
Like
numbers.
500,000.
No, it might be. I'm not
Less?
sure. No, it might be around that.
Blues on it. And by
but
the way,
his-
earlier, by population, New York City is the largest city in the United States.
Okay.
Well, I'm
By
only
population.
handling. It's the largest city in the United States,
By
and
population.
Brooklyn
New
is the
York's-
largest borough in
New York City, meaning the
More
the
than
borough-
double
the
any
island
other.
of Manhattan,
No,
or
New
New
York.
York City, meaning
all
all
the
5
boroughs.
boroughs together.
I,
It's got to be all 5 boroughs.
it was
together.
New York City. It didn't specify, so
That's
it's all the
That's got to
boroughs.
be all 5 boroughs, because there's not more people in
And
Manhattan
it's
than there is in
more
Brooklyn.
than
No way.
No,
number two is Los
Brooklyn
Angeles.
is the biggest
Yes.
borough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.6. It's as big as Chicago.
Los Angeles was number 2, and New York was double that.
Yeah.
By-
Okay, yeah, because Los Angeles by actual land is bigger, but by people they're a little bit more spread out there.
Yeah.
So what I was saying with him was he does all these social media things, and he
Mhm.
communicates with his constituents.
About 65,000.
65,000.
Yeah.
So clearly, giving your phone number out to 65,000 is different than giving your phone number out to 2.6 million. But even if you don't have to connect with every person, but you do your best to. How nice would it be if somebody called you have a hotline or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're the actual person who called them back? You're not going to.
I go through that now as a realtor. Do you know how many times I was running? Speaking of running, I was running the Chicago Marathon. Now I'm a very slow runner. It usually takes me between 5 and 6 hours. Well, no, never 6 hours, but about 5 hours to finish.
Right.
And I'll never forget this. I was running the Chicago Marathon. My phone rang. I picked it up and I said, "Hey, hi." And they said, "Hi, Janine. I'm looking for an apartment." I said, "Oh, okay. Can you do me a favor and text me, because I'm running the Chicago Marathon right now, and I just want you to. I don't want to forget anything."
Is that New York?
That is New York.
New York. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, the best marathon. I don't know what I did that in, but you see, repping Brooklyn already.
Yep, there you go.
That was just an incredible. Wow. Yeah. I want to do it again, but I won't. I don't do the same marathon twice.
Right.
But she said, "Wait,
I
what
don't
do you
do
mean?"
marathons. Period.
Well,
I
you
did a
don't,
half
you don't know
marathon.
what you're missing.
You don't
No,
say, bro.
I did Mo.
Do you do the Tunnel to Towers run?
I do the tunnel. We do the tunnel. I
So
don't
do
run
I.
it. We don't run it.
You
We
walk?
I
That's
walk it.
fine.
But I did one half marathon. I got tricked into it. I
And
didn't
how was
realize
that?
fulfilling.
Yeah.
It
really
Because I
is.
finished. It was pretty cool. I don't run anywhere.
Oh.
I mean, maybe to the donut shop or, to the
All right,
bank.
Someone
less
chasing you?
about you. Tunnel to
it's
Towers
closing.
marathon.
I love it. Well, it's not a marathon; it's just a run, but
Yeah,
I
we
love
do
it.
Tunnel
is,
to Towers.
is
Um,
phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, the just running through that tunnel and hearing the chanting and seeing the first
then coming
responders on
out.
the side. It's
Yes,
just
I try to explain it.
overwhelming.
Yes, everybody has to do
Overwhelming.
that once. And like you said, even if you're not running
Absolutely.
it, coming out of that tunnel
it's
and you see the
very
line, the
emotional.
firemen, the line of the cops. Yep, 100%.
Very emotional.
100%. I'm sorry, Mike. Back to you.
No,
I'm
I was
sorry.
just thinking about when we did it for Weymouth for
Oh my God, those stories.
what was the
Chesna,
Michael
Michael Chesna.
There was an
yeah.
officer in Weymouth, Massachusetts, Michael Chesna, who was
Mhm.
killed in the line of duty.
Mm.
And Tunnel to Towers they do a great thing. I have actually a few friends that work there that one of them is in charge of actually building the houses and getting
Oh
them out to the veterans
wow!
and stuff. So they also started a program where they were paying mortgages for
That's
cops
amazing.
and firemen killed in the
I've
line of
actually
duty.
heard of that.
So they had her there. They had Mike Chesna's wife there, and the if you've done it, they set it up right outside the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel on the Brooklyn side before you go through.
Mhm.
That's where they have like people. They introduce people, and they have the big parties after. And
Right.
Okay, so she's there. We brought down. We had how many guys come down from girls from Weymouth? Like maybe 15.
It was in 15.
20. No, that ran in uniform.
Yeah. Well, oh wait. From there it was about 25. In total,
Okay,
we had
so-
50 guys running in uniform.
Wow.
So we had 50
And
guys.
full battle rattle. I mean, everybody
Yes.
had their boots,
It's
belts.
amazing.
Yeah.
I could barely run in spandex and sneakers.
So we
It's
brought them all. We
amazing.
brought them all down, and we had them stay at the Jersey City Hyatt, the rooftop one, where you
Mhm.
can literally throw a rock and hit. And so the guy was like, "Oh, we thought we were going to be in
No,
like
you started the story way too late. You should have started the story at the check-in.
No, we
but-
can't do too. No, we can't get. We don't want to take too much
All
more
right,
time.
roger that.
The short version is they thought they were going to be staying in a Holiday Inn. We had them put up in a
Oh,
luxury
that's amazing.
hotel. They drank all night long. These guys from
Yes.
Massachusetts. The next day, you know how you walk to finally get to the tunnel. Your group that you're in.
Yes.
They kept getting off the line, and I'm like, oh, they have to go to the bathroom because they were drinking so much last night. No, they were bars happened.
buddy, you know these bars are still
The
open,
bars
buddy?
are open in the morning. They're going in. You could literally. So I got to give him credit. He's like, how far do we got to run? I'm like, bro, the cameras
It's like,
are on.
wait, is it 3 miles?
No, I said just run like
Yeah,
maybe
3.2.
run
yeah.
like maybe 50 yards into the tunnel, and you can walk. And no one's gonna see. It's a tunnel, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, that's
They were
cheating.
sweating.
That's cheating.
Jameson was
That's
sweating out of
fun.
their pores. But to their credit, they all did it. But the amazing part of this was, and we'll get back to you now. The wife didn't know, so there was how many people running total? Did we have $125, $150?
Yeah.
we were one of the largest.
That was
groups.
one of our largest ones.
One of
I
the
know
largest groups.
between them and Caprio when we ran, I think we're about 150, 160.
Everybody had on a white shirt that said Chesna on the front
Oh
of
my
it. The wife had
gosh.
no idea. She joined us, and then we all did it together. So anybody, you're right. The Tunnel to Towers. If you've never
Amazing.
done it, every time is chilling and
It is.
but that first time ever where you come out of
Is
the tunnel
Unforgettable.
and then all of the firemen and Port Authority and NYPD are lined up holding a banner for
Mhm.
each person lost.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the numbers. Anybody in law enforcement knows the numbers. NYPD 23, Port Authority 37, FDNY 343. Those are ingrained in our heads. Plus, I don't even know. I'm ashamed to not know the number, but it's high. It's in the high hundreds. It could be close to 1,000. We've lost since 9/11
Right.
through for illnesses. So the Tunnel to Towers, is an amazing organization. That's one that I donate to.
As do I.
I get the packets in the mail all the time with the cards and the stuff. Once you donate, you're on that list. But
Yes.
they
But
don't need.
That's a good list to be on.
They don't need to solicit for me. They're getting that money. It's a great thing that they do. All right. So you answered the
Yeah.
first question.
Oh, okay.
Right, that
Oh,
was-
gosh,
that
he's
wasn't-
got all these questions on his
Oh,
phone.
What do you have them saved in your notes? Look at them
Yeah,
go.
listen, I never really did notes or anything
While,
like that
while
before.
he's doing that, but yeah, when you come out and you see all those banners, you get a very real concept of, like he said, everybody knows the
I will
numbers.
never forget that.
You get a very real concept.
and
of, like,
I hope nobody ever forgets that.
yeah, it's
We're what, 20? How many years out are we? 20.
This year will be 24. Next year will be the
24 years.
25th anniversary.
Sometimes I feel like people don't remember. that.
Well, there are a lot
don't
of people
feel
that
that way.
weren't even born that
Yes.
weren't even around when it happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that's poor gal's line. The further away we get, the closer we get.
Well, that's our job, right? It's our job
It
for
is.
people to. We have our sayings are never forget, always
Never
remember.
forget,
But
yeah.
never forget means just that. Like you need to say the things out loud. You need to put them out into the universe. You need to know the names of the people, the fallen officers, fire, military. You need to tell stories, and that's how people remember.
Yeah.
Forget about the history books and what they're teaching in school. It's more this, right?
Yeah.
What's what the kids are learning. My kids all know,
Yeah.
right? They're all, I mean, my daughter was born in 97, so she was 4.
Mm.
My stepchildren, one was born right before a month before it happened, and the other one was 3 years later. So, but they all know about this stuff because you talk about it. Or,
Well, and I think one of
as
the
much as you can.
challenges are that New York City's so transient, right? So a lot of the people that are here didn't experience it. This wasn't their home.
Right.
It hits you differently when this is your home and when you experienced it and when you're still here. It really
Yep.
does.
All right, next question. You
Oh,
ready?
geez.
All right.
I
So
don't
this is
know.
along
Am I
no,
ready?
it's along your line because it has to do with housing and
Oh.
housing and development.
Okay.
What is your stance on affordable housing and gentrification in Brooklyn? You got to have strong opinions on that.
I do.
Let's hear them.
They go hand in hand.
Okay.
Unless you're building 100% affordable housing, you are gentrifying. And that's the reality.
So what's the solution? Because you always see all the time, like anywhere, not just Brooklyn, anywhere, affordable housing, affordable housing, affordable housing.
There's a lot of affordable housing.
Right.
There's a lot of affordable housing. There are a lot of programs that make housing more affordable.
Because New York is aggressive in that way with rent controls and like
And rent
subsidies
sta-
and
yes,
stuff like that. And
they
how much
are.
they're more so than a lot of other areas. So
Maybe too much.
maybe.
Yeah.
So what do you have is there anything that you would do different as it relates to the
Oh.
laws and stuff that are in place now, or
Absolutely.
what would they be?
I mean, first of all, we don't have any protections for landlords. Right?
Because for every horrible landlord story, there's a horrible tenant story. Or I'm a landlord. We own a couple of properties, and I've had good tenants and I've had bad tenants.
Same.
And people will say, "Oh, but you're charging this, or you're charging that, and you're doing this." So I don't think you punish someone who was able to make their way or invest at a time, and do something.
Here's the
good.
thing.
You should be punished for being successful.
The public has a perception that landlords are wealthy,
Right.
which maybe there are some landlords that are wealthy and maybe there are some landlords that are slumlords, right? But there are a lot of landlords who have very small buildings. They live in them. They take care of them. They want to do the
That
right
might
thing.
be their actual how they survive. That's their employment.
Well, a lot of them, yes. But, people frown upon that. Oh,
Right.
get a real job. Do you know how hard it is to be? I'm a landlord.
Right.
Do you know how hard it is to be a
So am
landlord?
I, and it's not easy.
It is not easy.
No.
I mean, sometimes I'm up at 4:00 in the morning. I've got to check on this building. I have to fix this problem. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When I'm on vacation, phone in my hands. I need to make sure that my people are good, right?
I love my tenants. I have 2 great tenants, but anytime I get a text and it says
I know you're
this
you're,
person
you're
or that person,
stomach,
I'm like,
right?
oh my God, did the
What's
hot
the
water heater,
what now,
the
right?
roof leaking, and they're good tenants, so I'm good to that. I'm not saying if they were bad tenants, I'd be bad to them, but they treat
Right.
my property with respect. So I make sure that anything that they need, it's taken care of.
And that's the
you
right
know,
way to do things.
right.
But the thing is that there are a lot of landlords out there. There are a lot of people that own property out there that now do not rent their units out because they're scared.
Right.
Why are they scared? Because there are a lot of bad tenants out there and the laws are in their favor.
Right.
So, I spoke to a gentleman the other day. He's been trying to get his tenants out for 6 years. They owe $89,000 in back rent. He is about to lose his building.
So see how ridiculous that is. So I get you have to, you also have to protect the tenants. Because
Absolutely, because
a
there
lot-
are bad
Right.
landlords.
So they're renters. They don't own.
Mhm.
Which doesn't necessarily always mean they don't have the means to own. Some people just choose to rent, and that's
Right.
fine too. But for the most part, if you're renting, you might not have the means to go to court and fight to get the things that you want. But that's an extreme, but that's not too extreme because most places a year and a
18
half, 2
months.
years, that's
18
nuts.
It's
That's
not.
nuts. 18 months of no revenue coming in, but you still got to pay your taxes.
That's
You
right.
still got to do the upkeep because God forbid there's no heat or the water isn't coming out at the right pressure or whatever the case may be. Your fines and the things that are going to happen to you as a landlord.
If
are gonna-
landlords knew that if they had a bad experience or a bad tenant or somebody stopped paying, that they could get them out relatively quickly, they would be more open to renting their units.
Of course, right.
And there are thousands of units unrented because landlords say it's not worth it.
Right.
So how about that
They're
for
bringing enough
loosening
money
up the
in,
housing
right.
stock?
So that's a good thing that you're going to bring something like that to the table that your opponents, we don't even know who your opponent's going to be because
We don't know
who
yet.
knows, right.
But this
Okay.
is just one way of thinking of these things, right? It's like, what is the problem? Oh, the problem is we don't have enough units, right? Okay, well, we have a lot of units that are empty. Why are they empty? Landlords are afraid to rent. Why? Because they don't want to be in housing court for 6 years.
Right.
Okay, what can we do to free those units up? I don't know why people aren't protecting landlds.
Right. So loosen up the regulations a little bit. Like it's overregulated, I think.
Well, it's over. Is that the right word? I don't know what the right word is, but it should not take you 6 years to get a non-paying tenant out of your building.
Right. That's crazy.
It
I can't
is
even imagine
crazy.
that. All right. How about we move on to another subject, public safety and policing. So I know you back the blue. You're
I
a
sure
law enforcement
do.
supporter. Just a few things I saw on your Instagram when I went through it. You had a couple of things up there.
Yeah.
So public safety and policing. What is your approach to public safety and community-based policing? And do you believe in the community-based policing? That's, parking the car, getting out, having cops on the beat, getting to know the people in the neighborhood. Yeah, it was called CPOP back in the day. It's not something new. It's not groundbreaking or shattering, but it's something that, well, I don't even know if it's even possible right now with the amount of retirements and people leaving the job. I mean, it's at the lowest point as far as morale and
It's awful.
officers actually working than it's been in, I think, decades. If you see anything that's being put out by the PBAs now, they can't retain.
I heard.
They can't hire.
I heard.
Nobody wants the job, even though they got a decent raise. It's still not comparable to other municipalities, but the pay is pretty good. But they're just not getting the candidates that they need, and people are leaving in droves. Experienced cops are leaving.
And this is a huge problem.
So how do you, and plus, I mean, all the controversies and all the stuff that's been going on with the police commissioners and a revolving door of people that have been replaced, and Adams' problems as well, does not shine a good light on it.
It's funny you say that. Mike Freed had asked about the Adams situation and what's going on with the NYPD, get more cops in the borough.
Right,
Mike Freed, talking more on everybody else's
Mike
shows.
Is he has one of the podcasts here called Sports Beat with
right?
Fredericks and Freed. So he's always making comments. So how do you have any plans or any way that you think you can attract making the job? I mean, because cops are treated like shit. I'm not saying it because
Listen,
my
I'm
daughter's
a realtor, okay?
Right.
I understand
being
treated like shit.
I'm
right?
talking about, I try
They
not
talk-
to curse too much, but like garbage.
No, listen.
They are treated like, there's
I
no personal
understand.
space, right? Like if you look at anything now, any interaction at all, and maybe this is something you have to start small, right? And then you work out from, like, you don't take your whole engine apart. If you have a knock, the first thing you do is you check to see if the oil is full. And then you don't go to the drastic. So how about just normal things like personal space between people? If you look now, people are right up on them, screaming, yelling.
With their phone,
everything
recording.
crazy. There should be a law, or there should be something in place where there should be some sort of radius where people, because that's very,
But
very
laws don't matter if they're not
dangerous.
enforced.
Well, that's okay. So let me
Okay,
talk
Wait,
to me.
say that again.
For the
laws don't matter if they're not enforced. Should I say it to the camera?
No, for the people in the
Laws
back.
don't matter if they're not enforced.
God
And
bless
that's
her.
what's happening in New York City right now.
Right.
Okay? There's no enforcement. Okay?
So you mean like giving people gift cards to encourage them to come back to court, and Yankee tickets to come back to court, and stuff
And
like that?
hamburgers to get the vaccine and all that.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And I really sympathize with police officers, because I can't imagine trying to protect people and having those same people in your face, spitting on you, calling you names, their cameras, their phone cameras in your face, throwing it up on TikTok, asking for a business card. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous. I think it needs to stop. Okay. We need to bring honor back to the badge. We need to respect authority, and not just police officers, authority. I speak to teachers all the time, and they're like, we get verbally abused. We get us physically assaulted. This is a societal issue.
Yes.
We have no respect for authority, for our parents. I don't know how to fix that.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Well,
just
I mean,
a human
as-
being.
I know
Right.
my rights.
But as a borough president, you're not going to dictate policy that's going to come out of City Hall, right? As far
Well,
as the
it's
laws.
city council. So,
But
so
you could
interestingly
still-
enough,
you could still your persona and what you put out there.
Absolutely. I
what
can
you-
shape the
Yes,
dialogue.
100%.
Brooklyn
which I
Borough
think is
President
lacking.
has almost zero power in the traditional sense,
Right.
right? We are advocates. We have a voice. We have, we can shape the conversation, but the power really lies with the city council,
Right.
and the mayor, but more so the
But
city
if you're
council.
shaping over here in Brooklyn and things are happening based off of what you're putting out there, the energy and how you're getting
Right.
people, and and good starts to happen. You're bringing
Mhm.
people together. You're shining a light
Absolutely.
and on Brooklyn, good, and then others going to take notice. It's almost like when you have a block of people, nobody decorates, and one person puts up beautiful Christmas lights.
Absolutely.
And then the next person 2 houses down. And
Yep.
the next thing you know, 3 years later, your
the
block
whole
is
neighborhood
which is
it's
where
like
everybody's-
diaper lights.
Yes,
The whole neighborhood
there you
is
go,
known
Diaper
for
lights,
this.
yes,
It's
exactly.
really important that and I think all of this disrespect towards police officers started with politicians, right? Defund the police, this, that, and it's that horrible dialogue. Nobody should be disrespecting anybody, but most of all, the people that are trying to protect us. So, like in terms of policing, I would love to see cops on the beat. When I was a kid, I knew my officers. They knew me. They knew that if Janine was in trouble and she wasn't saying it, they just knew by looking at me if there was something wrong, and they would intervene. Right. Sometimes you're in trouble, you don't say anything.
Yep.
You're being beaten, you're being abused. But the cops in my patrol area, on my beat, they would know just by looking at me, is Janine okay? We need to bring that back. But and I understand why police officers are in the precincts and they're in their cars and they're very reactive. I would like to see proactive policing. I would like to see my police officers, not only because I think that they should be embedded in the community, but people think twice about committing crimes when they see a cop.
Right.
And I don't want anybody ending up in jail. And I don't want anybody ending up in trouble because they're having a bad day or they made a bad decision or whatever the case may be. Let people think twice before they make a bad decision, and I think having police officers visible will prevent crime. And I think that's the key. It's not reacting to crime, it's preventing it.
And the relationships, right? The relationships.
Absolutely.
If you know Joe
your
that
people.
hangs out on the corner,
absolutely,
maybe there's a little bit more discretion, and maybe you're not going to be so quick to say, you broke this law, therefore you're going to jail.
Of course not.
It's like,
it's like you become like,
kid.
That's my man, that's my guy, that's my boy. That's how it should be.
When I worked in Brooklyn, I worked in downtown Brooklyn for a few years. We used to go down this one street, and there was this old guy sitting out on his porch. Remember the days when people sit down on a porch on a brownstone?
Yes.
He was out there all the time.
Not the porch, the stoop.
Driving by all the time. He always waved. One day I said to him, and we were a smaller precinct, and we didn't have a lot of people on patrol, so we didn't have the park, walk, and talk. We didn't have the, park your car, get out, walk, and talk to people. But what I would do is say, hey, let's take our meal over here today. I want to get out. I want to go talk to this guy. And World War II veteran. This is going back a long time. He's long gone now, but he was older then. And he was just out there. He just wanted somebody. All his family was on the West Coast. Started talking to him about the World War II. Brought me in his apartment house, brownstone. Showed me beautiful pictures of his family and all the stuff, all his accomplishments. And I made that a habit. I would always try to get there one time a week with him. And the same thing with store owners too, getting out and talking to people.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you like to talk. I have a microphone in front of me, but it helps. It helps because you never know who the person in the community is going to be that's going to pick up a phone and help solve a crime, prevent the crime.
Yeah.
All because maybe you changed the perception.
Right. You built a little trust there.
Right. So the same way you want to change perceptions of law enforcement, you want to change perceptions of politicians, right? Because you don't want to have everybody being judged the same way. You want to have people being judged by their actions and what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like a parallel, right? Because no one wants to be like, oh, this cop did this to me. All cops are bad.
Right.
This politician did this.
Or this real estate agent just cares about money. This is what I'm
Right.
saying. I can relate to that because we're very much vilified. Real estate agents are very much like the predators and the greedy. So I get that. But it needs to stop. It needs to stop. There needs to be a mutual respect.
Right.
And I would love to see that. I would love to see cops on the beat, out in public, walking, talking, becoming part of the community, working with community boards,
Right.
and with community leaders. There are so many people. there are more people that want police officers than don't want police
They're
officers.
just silent. They're quiet. And they
Right.
and you don't blame a lot of them. You can't really, it's not like it's a popular thing to be supportive or, back the blue is not popular right now.
Who are you? If somebody is chasing you with a gun, who are you calling?
Well, we say that all the time.
Who are you calling?
Hopefully. So you know what? You said something interesting before. You said about the power of the borough president. How much, so clearly if you're putting out messages, or how much say does the borough president have in the funds that will come into the community? Or is that all the purse strings controlled by City Hall and you get what you get? Or is it personal relationships built?
So there is some working with the mayor in coming up with the budget. And of course, with the largest borough, with the most amount of people, I mean, we deserve a bigger piece of the pie. So you do have some say with the budget. And then you do have you have all the say on where it goes.
Because like the big thing now is, Josh, what's that? Mo, I said his name. Mo, what's the thing called? The Doge, what's it called? The thing with the Elon, what's that called?
Doge,
right? Is that how you say it?
Doge, yeah.
So where do you stand on government and transparency?
Oh, I love it.
And can you make your administration more transparent and more accountable to the people of Brooklyn? Like what are the things that you can do to do that?
I mean, I can get somebody
That's
from
huge
high
right
school.
now, right?
Huge. I love that idea. I think it's very important. This is our money, right? And everybody should, I mean, I want to know where my money's going, right? Whether it's been taken out of my pay for taxes or whatever, it's still my money. And so I think that it's really important that people know where that's going. And it's very simple for somebody from high school to just throw some technology on the homepage of the Brooklyn Borough President's office and say, this is how much we got and this is where it's going.
Is that out there now?
No.
What? I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. How much money did the borough president, not the borough president, how much money did Brooklyn get?
Mm-hmm.
How were those funds dispersed?
Mm-hmm.
And who decided where those monies would go?
So
New York City's had a few issues with money.
Missing money?
A few.
De Blasio's wife, the amount of money. I mean, that's not like fake news or
that's
just
real stuff. And even the controller said, hey, where'd this money go?
Right. I mean,
and then they just dropped the investigation.
And
this was for mental illness, which is such a huge problem right now. It's it's mind-boggling that this stuff is not readily available. Maybe it is available in a 400-page document that nobody is reading. It should be on the cover page of the website. This is how much we got. This is where it's going. And there should actually be an option, for people to vote where the funds should go.
So you're saying that if you were elected to Brooklyn Borough President, one of the changes that you would make is there'd be total transparency.
Absolutely. In terms of the money?
Right. On a website.
On the Brooklyn Borough President's homepage.
First and page. See, we got, I'm just saying numbers. I don't know what.
$45 million.
We got $45 million. $5 million was allotted to the Parks Department for improvements on playgrounds and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
This went to this program. This is
like program. A no-brainer.
I was just going to say, like, this to say that like it's groundbreaking.
It's simple stuff.
Shows you how corrupt what's in place is. Like, this should not be groundbreaking. Like, if you can't tell me where every dollar we're giving you is going to, what else am I supposed to think other than the fact that there's corruption going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I don't want to say that just because it's not on the website, there's corruption. But what I'm saying is, why
isn't it on the website?
Why? Because we always talk about this right now. Whenever I read an article, whenever I watch anything, of course, I'm concerned with the knowledge and taking in, but my mind works different. I always think about what's not in the article. What are they not saying? Not conspiracy theory, crazy stuff. I'm just saying, where's that other part of the story? Like, the first thing you should think of when it comes to finances for a borough like Brooklyn, 2.67 million, right? We've established that.
Almost,
where is that money going and who's deciding where it's going? I don't know how you pull off that vote on where the money goes thing.
Why not?
Because how would you?
These are conversations that the borough president should be having every day with the residents, with the community boards. Absolutely,
and having influence,
this is what
but not an actual vote.
This is the problem.
Right.
This, you take. That's one of the main jobs of the Brooklyn Borough President, to get community feedback, to get involved with the communities, the neighborhoods, the residents, community leaders, community boards, and find out where the issues are, where the problems are, and come up with solutions.
So you have no primary.
I don't.
You're running uncontested.
Correct.
You are the Republican candidate. We're going to say that now.
I am the endorsed candidate for the Republican and conservative parties.
So Republican and conservative, you were endorsed by those parties.
Correct.
And then the Democratic there is a primary for
Correct.
the Democrat.
And they have
that's in June.
That is in June.
And
correct.
there's a bunch of people running for that.
There are.
And then whoever comes out of that runs against you
Correct.
in the election in November, the same election where the mayor's races and all the other borough presidents are going to be running.
Isn't that
very,
exciting?
very interesting. Yeah, like we touched on it before. You got a Democrat running as an independent. You got Curtis running as a Republican, and then there's a host of people running for mayor.
Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job of getting some of your message out there.
I
But if
hope
you
so.
Look into the camera right now,
Oh,
as we said we don't want to do, and just speak to the people of Brooklyn and tell them why they should vote for you in November. I think that's important.
Okay, why should you vote for me? Well, clearly, I hope it's clear that I have a love for this borough and a love for my city. Born and raised here, I have a background as a financial advisor and a real estate professional, and those are the two major components of the Brooklyn Borough Presidency. It's budgeting and it's land use. And so those are things I have a lot of experience with. And it's also a very ceremonial position. You're the CEO, the face, the voice, the cheerleader, the advocate for the borough. And I think my personality fits that, if I should say so myself.
Very good.
Is that
very
good?
Yeah, no, that's true.
I can't curtsy in the chair,
but I think
but
the part that you said, which is like really, I didn't think about it that way. You do have the experience in finance.
yeah, I may not be a politician, but I was a financial advisor. I've been a realtor for 20
anymore. We don't want. It's over.
And I agree with you. Politicians, especially the career politicians, they just are using positions like this, the low level municipal positions, as stepping stones.
Right.
Yes. And so I do not have any aspiration to be mayor. I don't even want to be city council. I know where my strengths are.
Right.
And my personality, and I know where I could and would do a great job. But I am not here to climb any political ladder. I have a lot of real world experience as we didn't talk about this, but I'm a Puerto Rican woman who was born in the projects, right? So I have the experience of being born in an area where I should not have had any opportunity, but I've created it for myself. I own several businesses. I am self-employed. I'm a business owner. I know about that end of things, getting myself out of one situation and into another.
I'm sorry.
I'm not afraid of spiders. I saw you do that.
When it's a spider, I call my wife. Did I kill that thing?
You killed it and it's sitting right by me.
I
But
have a treaty with the spiders. As long as they stay outside, they're okay. They come inside, they die.
No,
Sorry.
but there's something to be said about really being out there in New York City and really making it,
Yes.
right? And I've never worked for the government, and I've never been a politician, and so I haven't been in a bubble. I've been out there. I've been hustling.
Don't let it corrupt you.
So
Listen,
the backstory is there, right? Female, Puerto Rican.
I just cut off my conversation. Don't worry about
Don't
what
let
I
it
was
corrupt
saying.
you.
Hold on.
I will tell you this. I will tell you that in the 2 months that I've been in politics, I have seen and learned a lot. And I can understand how people go from, maybe one political party to another. This is all healthy stuff if we're all listening and engaging and not fighting, right? I hate that word. I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to fight for that. And in fact,
well, we don't want everybody thinking the same,
so
because
much
then we have a real problem. If everybody thinks the same,
but
then
hang
it's a
on.
real
But
problem.
do you know how the City Council of New York City is made up?
No.
It is extremely one-sided.
Right.
And if you just do an overhaul of the City Council, most of our problems in New York City would be solved, because you have a different way of seeing things, thinking of things, solving problems.
Right.
It's a different perspective. And again, like you said, I think we all want the same stuff. It's just, how do we get to that place of okay?
Right.
Right.
You got to get past the screaming and the yelling and just
Absolutely.
listen,
We
listen
have
a
to
little
stop
bit.
fighting.
Yes.
I'm not fighting for affordable housing. I'm not fighting for public safety. I'm not fighting for small business. I want to work for that.
This is what was said earlier. You see what I'm saying?
Who said that?
That if they listen, power is they use division to maintain power.
Right.
They want
Right,
us
that's
to.
the secret. That's the secret sauce, and it's been a secret sauce forever.
They
I
want
mean,
us to keep fighting each other.
So we don't even see what the real problem is, and
Right.
who and right.
When we realize that it's not us versus us,
It's not.
it's us versus them.
it really is as simple as just talking and listening to each other.
Yes.
It
But
really
we
is
don't do
simple.
that
Yeah.
anymore. We want to yell at each other. We want to fight each other. We want to hold up signs. We want to protest. We want to hurt. We are hurting each other until we, until the seller says, okay, I'll come down. Until the buyer says, okay, I'll come up. We're not making a deal.
It really
and who
is what you
better,
said.
who better to bring people together than a realtor who's been negotiating her entire adult life? I mean,
Listen, I can't vote in New York.
I know.
I don't live in Brooklyn.
For you.
But I do hope that.
I thought you were going to say because you're a felon.
No, felons can
Felons
vote.
can
I think
vote.
felons can vote.
we don't look at your criminal history.
Also, people might think, oh, he agrees. Yeah, I think if you went to jail and you did your time, you should. Why should you lose your right to vote because you made? I'm talking about like someone who did, something not create. I don't know what. I guess I don't know. Can you pick like this crime is okay, that crime's not okay?
Of course we do. We do that all the time.
If you do your time and you're out, you should be able to vote. Why do you lose your right to vote because you committed a crime? Because that's all subjective to because the laws of yesterday aren't the laws of today. You know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
this is why you really can't have like one size fits all policies.
Right.
We really can't.
There's got to be some discretion.
Absolutely.
Which is sometimes
Especially in a
hard.
city like New York, where it's
Yes.
so diverse, and that's the beautiful thing about it, right? I mean, you think you need to take every borough, every neighborhood, every community, see it for what it is, and approach it from a different direction.
Right. And I think you have the right idea. Like going on podcasts, even though we were your second,
You were my first live.
I thought we were going to be your first.
I thought
podcast.
so
We
too,
were
but
your
things
second.
happen. You got to
But
adjust.
listen, you drove from Brooklyn to, in case people don't know it, they didn't hear it in the beginning. You're in lovely downtown Phillipsburg, New Jersey, but we're broadcasting out all over the interwebs.
That's amazing.
So you came to Phillipsburg to
I
get your
did.
message out to the people in Brooklyn, which I think is a sign of commitment right there. Because
100%.
Phillipsburg
That's
is
awesome.
not. Yeah, it's.
I
really-
am
that
I am
really is awesome.
extremely committed. I love my city so much.
Let's hope people listen. Let's hope people are open-minded and they're really listening to your message.
Yeah.
Because I think your message is really good and just cut through all of the. It's refreshing.
Thanks.
It's refreshing.
Well, that's what happens
Yeah.
when you don't have a politician, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a politician. I'm just Janine.
Right.
And just Janine. I'm just a girl.
I think we might-
Don't,
Hey,
don't
hold on
let
a
him,
minute.
don't let him get you.
Hold
don't
on.
let him corrupt you.
Hold
So
on.
I
Just
love the
Janine.
fact that you. What are you making a T-shirt?
No,
All right.
that's a campaign. To me, like
Here we go.
Republican, I get it. You're endorsed by the Republicans and the conservative. That's good.
Correct.
That's a political party. That's the system that we have. But how about we define you as just Janine? And now
I would love that.
And now people need to look into you and what you represent and what you want to put out there into the world, and not red or blue, left or right.
Absolutely.
I'm just Janine.
And I hope that
5%
serves.
of the
Yeah.
intake on the.
But I
shirts
hope
and
that
hats.
that serves as an example
Brothersbeforeothers.org.
for like everything in the world,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
think we all need to chill out
Yes.
and listen. And again, like I said, can it just be the day after 9/11 again?
Dude,
Like
that's what they're afraid of the most, and they is the establishment. They is the swamp, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's what they're afraid of the most.
well,
is that
then we can't be afraid.
Right. And to,
100%.
and to anybody who like tunes into a podcast to try to find something negative, or tries to find the negative about, someone who's running, how about knock it off? Listen to what they have to say. I mean, make your judgments on who you want to vote for. Obviously, someone is going to run and someone's going to win,
Right.
but do it based off of what you hearing and seeing and not what someone else is telling you.
Right.
Right? Do it based off of the energy, the vibe. Do your research. That's the other problem. It's all, clickbait. Read the headline. Don't read the article. No substance anymore. If you have somebody who's in front of you that has substance and is telling you what they want to do, listen
Yeah.
and make your determination based on that and not on, political party. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I'm
And
so
and like you
fed
said,
up with
do
it.
your research.
Yes.
a political candidate, and it's very obvious in the mayoral race, it's like they're telling you what they want you to hear today. Do some research, go back and see what they've done before, because we have short attention spans, right? You really need to just do your research and say, wait, they're saying this now, but 5 years ago they said this. Well, that's somebody being a politician, and that's not somebody that should be representing people.
Right.
This is not about politics, and this is not about policies. This is about people.
I mean, you look at New York City now, it's like a soap opera. I mean, I can't even keep up with this one, that one, this one.
And again, you can change, you can evolve, right? You can have said something 5 years ago.
Oh, sure.
And say, you know what? I messed up. I made a mistake. I stand corrected. And like you said, I'm the first person that said that.
Right.
I don't hear that.
Right.
I don't hear somebody saying, you know what? I shouldn't have done this when I was governor. I messed up and I'm sorry. And I'm going to do it this way now.
When's the last time you heard that? Like,
Never.
you know what I mean?
They just shift
right,
gears
yeah.
like
Change
it never
the
happened.
narrative, change
Like
the
like
word
they
around.
never said it.
And
Like they never said it.
But because
It's-
they are banking on people having a short attention span, being too busy trying to support their families that they can't sit. I mean, think about it. A regular person, do they have time to sit and Google political candidates to find out what they're all about? Do they have time to go on the Follow the Money campaign and see who's donating to them? Oh, and that's who they're working for.
Well, I think they do. Get off Candy Crush, stop going on TikTok, and take 15 or 20 minutes to really listen. Here's my hope. I just hope for the city that I love, the city that I was born in, New York City, the city where
You said you were born in New Jersey.
No,
Oh.
I was born in not St. Vincent's. What's the one that was in Greenwich Village? St. Vincent's in
St.
Greenwich
Vincent's?
Village. Yep, St. Vincent's not there anymore, right?
Oh, no.
And then I lived in Hell's Kitchen until I was 4.5, and then I moved to New Jersey.
I see.
And then back to New York when I became a cop. I love the city.
Wait,
right?
you were a
So
cop?
do
bro?
I.
Yeah, I was. At one point. People of New York, please do better. Please do better. The
We
city
can.
is a mess. The politics and just the finger pointing and the corruption and the wrong people are being put in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the wrong people are being put in office. I'm not saying Democrat or Republican. I said
Right.
people.
Right.
The wrong people are being put in charge. You got to do better. You got to do better. So please take what you learned in this podcast, do your research, and vote for the candidate in Brooklyn Borough President that you feel will do the best job. I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen on the Democratic side.
Right. We don't.
But you're here.
It'll be exciting.
Janine's here. She's
Yes.
right in front of the camera, and I know you're going to be doing many more of these, reaching out to people. You got the Brooklyn Bridge. When is that again? Let's give that to the people.
So Tuesday at noon, I will be formally announcing my campaign at the Fulton Ferry Landing at the Brooklyn Bridge, which is right in front of Van Leeuwen Ice Cream.
Okay.
I'm
And
right
then what
across
about-
from the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory. And
Oh, ice cream.
Yeah.
I might just
There
take
a
that.
Yeah.
website
Yeah,
attached to it?
socials.
And
What are the
so
socials? What do
my
they got going on?
website, my official campaign website is www.janineforbrooklyn.com, all spelled out.
Okay, we'll get that in the
Thank
Yeah, that's
you.
going in the comments now.
And
Yep.
then,
Appreciate
you have
that.
the Instagram, which is
I have an Instagram, which is Janine for Brooklyn also.
Okay, and then is there a Facebook for Janine for Brooklyn?
Janine
too?
for Brooklyn
So across
Facebook.
all socials.
Just Janine for Brooklyn, except for TikTok, because as you know, you cannot start a new TikTok.
Right.
So I think the TikTok is under my old TikTok, which don't worry about.
Yeah,
TikTok.
no, I don't.
Just
So-
Janine for Brooklyn.
So just Janine for Brooklyn for
Instagram,
Instagram, Facebook, and
website.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so
I
much
wish you
for
nothing but
having
luck.
me.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
refreshing.
Thank you so
Brooklyn,
much.
do the right thing.
Yes.